Yep, I went and purchased 4 new batteries. I'll tell you all about it. All right, so the batteries I had in the boat are at least, I'm going to say, 5 years old. The starting batteries for the motors and also the thruster batteries. So I was pretty much assuming that I'm coming up on a battery replacement soon, but I kept putting it off with all the work I was doing on the boat. However, I started having an issue on the boat where I started to smell like a sulfur smell, a sweet, pungent sulfur smell in the cabin. So being working around batteries many years of my life, that's indicative of battery that's going into thermal rundown, where it starts overheating as it's getting charged. So sure enough, I went down to the cabin and felt around the different batteries to see if there were any batteries that felt hot. And sure enough, my port starting battery was overheating. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to replace one. They were all about the same age. I'm going to replace them all. So I went down to West Marine, and yep, I bit the bullet and bought 4 new batteries for the boat. So most of the batteries are accessible here in the lazarette. And this battery over here is the port starting motor. So we got one battery here. These are our house batteries. These are 2 6-volt golf cart flooded batteries. So I just keep the water levels up on those. I got to add water every so often. That's what that is, a bottle of distilled water. That's all you want to use in your batteries, distilled water. So those are okay, haven't any issue, but this is the battery that started overheating. And it's also the battery that powers our hull shield system. So I shut the charger off a couple hours ago, so the battery has cooled down a bit, but it was really hot. And when these batteries go bad, any battery goes bad, and it starts overheating and running into what they call thermal runaway, which means the battery is short-circuiting inside and it's burning up the plates, but the battery charger keeps trying to send current into it. So it creates a lot of heat. It boils off all the electrolyte, which is that sulfur smell that you smell, that acidy smell, and the battery is toast after that. So this was an older battery, like I said, and it was time to replace them. So I figured let's just replace them all because they're all going to go bad. So it's a good idea to replace all the batteries at once that are on the same charger so that they're all equally charging and taking the same charge. So I'm going to replace this battery. I'm going to replace these 2 batteries. This is the starboard starting motor. This is the starboard starting battery. This is the stern thruster battery. They have their own batteries also. And there's another battery that's way up in front of that port motor. That would be the bow thruster battery. So I need to get in there, and that's the toughest one to replace. These are really easy. I'll bang these out in no time. But so that's the situation. So I looked into different types of batteries. I know there's really expensive. You have the AGM absorbed glass mat batteries. You have lithium iron phosphate batteries, all high technology, very expensive batteries. I opted to stick with the regular conventional flooded lead acid batteries that were in cars and boats for a millennium, or 100 years, I guess, right? But I've had no trouble with them. They've lasted, for me, at least 6 years without a hiccup. They just went bad, so I'm going to put new ones in. I'll show you what I got. I picked them up at West Marine because West Marine had them in stock, and they were brand new batteries. They're marked for this month is being manufactured, so they should be in good shape. It comes with a 1-year warranty also. Pay a little bit more at West Marine, but it's convenient. I trust them, and if I have an issue, I go back. It's local. I don't have to worry about shipping batteries or anything like that if there's a problem. So let's get this done. All right, first thing I want to do is make sure we have everything turned off. I already have my battery charger turned off, so I'm not charging the batteries that are in there that I'm replacing. I want to turn off all the battery switches so that I can't get current from one to the other because they are interconnected somewhat. So that's it. Now all my batteries are off, and I can start disconnecting them, and should be nice and easy and safe. All right, this is pretty straightforward stuff. I loosen the nuts on the battery. You don't want to short your positive to the negative. Pretty much goes without saying. and you want to remember where everything goes. But yellow cables go to the negative, and the red typically goes to the positive. So we'll disconnect that, pull that battery out, and get the new one in. All right, we got all the cables disconnected. We're going to clean up these lugs here, just get any corrosion off of them, and I do have a battery corrosion spray I'll be putting on them to keep them from corroding in the future. But you see we got everything disconnected. These batteries are Group 31 MHD, that's Marine Heavy Duty, with 950 cold cranking amps and 195 reserve minutes charge. That's what all that means. And I'll show you what the new batteries are. So here's our new batteries. These are Marine dual purpose 860 cranking amps. See that over there? Marine cranking amps. So a little bit less than the old batteries, but these are dual purpose, meaning they're hybrid. They're starting in deep cycles, so they recharge and discharge at more cycles than a typical starting battery. So that's good for marine use. So a little less cranking amp capacity, but we're not in the cold weather or the freezing weather anymore. So these motors only need 600 cranking amps according to the manual. So this is more than enough. Okay, our new batteries here, a little bit different. You have two different types of connectors you could use. We're going to be using the slug here. The batteries do come with the nuts that go on there and the protective caps. All right, we got a new battery in its place. You want to make sure you orientate the correct positive and negative. You got the positive going to the red here, the negative going to the yellows and the blacks. So let's get that wired up. Here's our battery terminal protector that we're going to spray on there. It just keeps any corrosion at bay. And we'll spray that on the terminals and the cables once we get it all together. All right. Port starting battery is all hooked back up again. I have the leads for the hull shield hooked up again. All the terminals are cleaned and sprayed with the corrosion inhibitor. All right, another thing I forgot to mention, these batteries being their wet cell, after you install it, there's a sticker on here. You want to take that sticker off to get to these caps. Unscrew these caps, check the water levels. Most likely you want to top these things off down into the slot there. You want that water level to be as high as it can in these batteries so you don't have to maintain it and add water too often. My old batteries, I never added water to them. They lasted 5 years, but let's start off right. And again, you're just adding distilled water here. Don't use tap water, don't use bottled water. You want distilled, so there's no minerals in it. And I'm just topping them off to the top of the slot in the battery. All right, we're all filled up. Caps are all replaced, tightened up, and we're good with that battery. Out now. Here we have the starboard starting battery. It only has the heavy duty cables attached to it. This is the thruster battery, and this is the control wire for the stern thruster. So I'll have to keep that hooked up also. Got these two batteries all wired up, sprayed with corrosion spray, and the electrolyte topped off. Now we got to get to the difficult battery. We're down in the bilge in front of the port motor, and there is the bow thruster battery that we have to get to. It is tucked way back in there, and it weighs about, I don't know, what, 60 pounds? But I need to get it past all of this, the fire extinguisher, lift it up out of there, past all the lines. That's going to be fun in front of the motor right here. Not much room. All right, we're getting back there, and lo and behold, this is a different battery from all the rest. So interesting that they didn't change this one out. At least it doesn't look like it. It looks like an older Duracell compared to the Interstate in the back. Interesting. I got the battery out, and check this out. It's a totally different battery. Duracell, it's an AGM battery. This is the only AGM battery in the entire boat. You're not supposed to mix gel and AGMs on the same charger, but here we go. Out with the old and with the new. All right, to replace this battery, we pulled the whole battery box out. This is the new battery in the box. Then you could just slide it out rather than lifting it up over the box. I already cleaned all the connectors back there, so it'll be easy to work once the battery's back there. Now sliding it back. Our bow thruster battery is in. Hopefully I don't have to do that for another 15 years. All right, all batteries are in. Now it's time to connect them all again. Hopefully we get no shorts. Okay, all the batteries are in line. Now let's see, we got our voltage jumping around. Charger's not on, it's showing just over 12 volts. This is good. Almost 13 volts, 12.5 volts, almost 13 volts. So my house battery is at 12.5, and that's the ones I didn't change. So, but the two other ones are almost 13 volts without a charge from the store, so that's pretty good. Let's fire up our battery charger, see what it does. So battery charger is on, and it should take a few seconds for it to start charging. There we go. We're over 13 volts. That's on the house. Once the battery voltage comes up, the switches will close and start charging the other batteries. Let's see, so we got 13.5 on the house, 13.5 on the, I'm thinking that's the starboard. And we should see 13.5 on the port shortly. All right, I just heard the voltage switch, voltage relay switch for the port motor, and we're starting to come up, climbing the voltage on the port motor. So a little at 13 and slowly climbing. And we got the house. Okay, all right, so good. We got everything's at the same voltage. All right, that is it. Changing out 4 of the batteries on the Meridian 341 at 60 pounds each. Each one of those batteries costs $253 with an $18 core charge, which I'll get back when I bring back the old batteries. So I tested everything out. Everything's working well, and we're looking forward to another beautiful weekend trip on the water. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.